them as well. What a move from the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
It is now time for the hunt towards World Championship glory here in the World GT Championship. We're into the final quarter of the season right here on RaceSpotTV, and where better to start than the streets of Belle. Hello everybody, Paul Smith and Peter Mackay here for all of the coverage. And Peter, it's going to be a tricky race for those drivers out there today, isn't it?
Massively so. The pressure is on because, as you said, we're on that run to the end of the season, and we're going to a circuit tonight where it is so challenging, and you make the slightest error, it's all over. And especially if you make the error in the first race, you're going to pay for it in the second as well. Here at Detroit, it's tough.
It is tough indeed, and you think Sebring's bumpy. This place is even more bumpy in my opinion. But as I say, we are into that final run towards championship glory. Just 3 more weeks of the championship to come here, starting off at Belle Isle for 2 45-minute feature races. Next week we head to upstate New York and the beautiful track at Watkins Glen for the final endurance round of the season. And then that final 2 races of the season, we're staying in the United States. We head down to Florida and Sebring International Raceway on April the 29th. Well, it could not get any closer really in the championships, because in Pro, it's Ross McFarlane who leads by just 23 points over James Bume, and he's a further 8 points further back is Jack Sedgwick. That gap is getting closer and closer throughout the second half of the season. Denis Grabowski is in 4th. He's not out of a shout of the championship, just being 64 points behind the championship leader. Anders Meyer, Ethan Critchley, who has a qualifying ban this week, Michael Avdurka, Alpha Thurzel, Alex Siptrovic and Rafael Schiffer round out your top 10 in Pro. In your Pro-Am standings, it's just 41 points separating Adam Watson and Paul Webster. And then Andy Archer is 97 points off of the championship leader. Eric Rousseff is not here this week, 100 points behind championship leader. That could have big connotations for his championship hopes. Michael Gray, Jack Osborne, Till Sommerfeld, Ben Palmer, Mattia Catania and Simon Lersing round out the top 10 in Pro-Am. In AM, it's a bit of a bigger championship lead here, but not much. Giuseppe Mascala is leading this championship by 77 points over Simon Andre Livingston. Craig Jones is just 2 points behind Simon though, in 3rd place ahead of Andrea Corbellini. Then it's Josh Boot, who's had the pace but not had the consistency. Johnny Elia, Kevin Stringer, Stephen Koenig, Byron Crawford and Dan Blackwell round out the top 10 in AM. Your 9 teams in Pro are led by Altitude Esports by 142 points over WSR Esports Bug Kicker, with Racing Lab Esports, Altitude Esports Blue, WSR Esports, Boots and VDS by Undercut, Olympus Esports, German Sim Racing Pro and Effect Simulations rounding out the top, those 9 Pro teams. And then the 9 teams in AM is led by Full Tilt V Motorsport by just 20 points over Atomic Esports. ADX Racing Team are in 3rd ahead of the Full Tilt V Sim Sport team. German Sim Racing AM leading out the SCCR Sim Sport team with 11 tenths Racing, 3M UK and Nulvia Racing Team rounding out those 9 teams. But Peter, I mean, I touched on it. Qualifying ban for Ethan Critchley, that will help his hopes of getting a good finish in the Pro standings. In Pro-Am though, Eric Rousseff has been on a real charge, missing from today's race.
That's a real pity, and that could really put paid to his championship hopes at this late stage. Even with drop scores and things, that's not good news at all, really, and probably a sigh of relief for those ahead of him, because he's really been the top man in that class over the last few rounds. So yeah, good news for Andy Archer, Paul Webster, and championship leader in Pro-Am, Adam Watson.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Bonsardeur as well is another driver not here today for this race, so we won't see him till next week. But, well, what a second half to the season we've had so far, Peter. We've seen the resurgence of last season's champion James Bume and Jack Sedgwick having a real go at the championship.
It's been amazing to watch just how he's run down what was nearly a 3-figure gap to championship leader Ross McFarlane. It's now just 31, so really, really tight. James Bume has also had a very good second part to the season. The last couple of circuits really have suited the Ferrari that both James Bume and Jack Sedgwick are at the wheel of. Not so much McFarlane's Lamborghini. That will definitely, I think, switch back here at Belle Isle.
Well, let us take you through your starting grid here. Remember, in qualifying order for this first race. The second race, we do have the spin of a wheel for an inversion. So, on pole position for Altitude Esports, James Bume sharing that front row in his Ferrari with the Lamborghini of Ross McFarlane. Alex Davidson and Anders Meyer on row number 2. Jamie Rushworth in the third row of the grid, top Pro-Am. Alongside him is Michael Avdurkas. There's a lot of WSR cars on those front 3 rows. Jack Sedgwick on row number 4, alongside him is Pro-Am Championship leader Adam Watson. Till Sommerfeld and Denis Grabowski ahead of Rafael Schiffer and Andy Archer. Then it's Michael Gray and Arthur Thurtle with Paul Webster, Mattia Catania, Axel Sliptrovic and Will Guthrie rounding out row number 9. Row 10, it's Josh Boot, your top AM on the grid. Let's see if he can keep that on the grey stuff. Phil Samways alongside him. Row 11 for Jack Osborne and Simon Lersing. In the 12th row, Simon Andre Livingston and Mark Hutchinson. 13th row of the grid for Craig Jones and Ben Gregory, with Giuseppe Moschella and Kevin Stringer sharing row number 14. Row 15 for Byron Crawford and Andrea Corbellini. Then towards the rear of the grid, Dwayne Hoffman, Nathan Healy, with the back row of the grid of Stephen Koenig and the one driver with the qualifying ban, Ethan Critchley. Let's see how he gets on with his charge through the field here today. But one thing of note there, Peter, I mentioned it, a lot of WSR esports cars in those front 3 rows of the grid.
That's massive, because that's what Ross McFarlane has been without the last couple of rounds, having a support from his teammates up there at the front of the field. This time now, he has plenty allies out there, and the table, the momentum could switch here. James Boomey for Altitude Esports, he's now the man who's going it alone.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, we don't have long for the pace lap here. It's just around these final few corners. 14 turns for these drivers. Concrete walls line this track. Very little room for error. It's all on the right foot of James Boomey, and he's holding them for a long time. Now we get the green flag and we're underway, and look at that, they're finally out 4-5 wide in towards turn number 1. Can they all manage to make it through here? Through turn 2, remember, cold tyres, cold brakes, the drivers have got to be careful of that outside wall. And heading down the straight now towards turn number 3. This is one of your big overtaking opportunities. Down the inside there was Anders Meyer or Michael Evdurka, but Michael Evdurka holds on to that place and is crashing further back in the field. Oh my goodness, it's happened already.
Yeah, the big one, and safety car required there, with so many cars delayed by a significant amount. And you know, the chance of a safety car here at Detroit Belle Isle is high, and that's definitely proven to be the case. Now the teams will be very quickly recalculating their strategy. Of course, this is a pit stop race, don't forget, so yeah, very, very important. And the drivers at the front trying to, while they're behind the safety car, use as little fuel as possible to try and gain an advantage when they get to the pit stop. Let's take a look what happened.
So this is further back. This is, oh, that's a big miss of the brakes there from the Audi SCCR car. I believe that would be, I didn't quite catch which number it was, but it was one of the SCCR cars. Missed its braking, and then down into turn number 3. Here's another look then from up above, and you see, just dive down the inside, not stopping, and 3 cars into 1. There's cars going backwards across the track, track's blocked, and that's why we have a safety car. I can tell you, Simon Lersing, Craig Jones, Andrea Corbellini and Jack Osborne, all with mechanical meatball warning flags here in these early stages. And yeah, that was a big missed braking opportunity. I think it was Craig Jones who just got his braking all wrong into turn 3.
Got it completely wrong, and then made the accident worse by not holding the brake either, which then put him into the path of other drivers. So you see everyone else. Oh yeah, he's missed it. Oh, he's missed it by miles. But then watch this here. Car rolls back into the path. You should have your foot on the brake there. Yeah,
absolutely, completely agree with you there, Peter. And you can see the BMW Stephen Koenig waiting patiently. Yeah, as we go through. Now my track map is saying car number 8 is completely at a stand, and I think that's actually on pit roads. I think it's actually made it onto pit road. But yeah, it's incredible how they've managed to do that. But in fact, no, they've not made it on. Do I see this right? Are they not on pit road? They're not. There's the cone.
So what I think it is that they're waiting for the safety car train to go around. They cannot leave the pits. The pit lane is closed, so it's basically to stop them getting a lap advantage. So they'll have to come back, and they'll have to wait for the train to go round before the pits open.
I mean, the thing is, you've got to remember with that is the penalty for entering the closed pit lane is a back of line penalty. So it's not really, it's not really the biggest penalty because you're already at the back of the field anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than doing it in, say, an IMSA WeatherTech Championship race. If you enter a closed pit, it's a massive, massive penalty. It'd be multiple laps.
So let's just take stock of where we're at right now, as the pace car is going to come past pit entry right about now. So those cars have actually made it onto pit road now, so the pit lane is open. The lights will come off of the safety car. It's James Pume who leads, ahead of Ross McFarlane, Alex Davidson. Michael Evdoka is up 2 places at the start, so it's been a really good start for Michael in this one. Anders Meyer is up to 5th, down to 5th, should I say, sorry, from where he started. Jack Sedgwick is 6th. That's a gain of a position. Dennis Grabowski's gained 3 places there, up into 7th. Jamie Rushworth dropping 3 to 8th. Adam Watson losing 1 to 9th. And Andy Archer rounding out the top 10. Those drivers who were on pit road to get their repairs done have been so and done that. Ben Gregory has been into pit lane for a 1.9 second pit stop. Is that just a little splash?
Yeah, it could be, or a fast repair. Maybe he got caught up with something in that.
Possibly,
in
yeah.
fact, he was right in the middle of that. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So took the opportunity to get the fast repair. Simon Lersing has just come out of pit road right now, so has taken the tour back to pit lane. Got his fast repair, and that is, I mean, we've commended the championship season upon season. The drivers do get 1 free fast repair in the sessions here. It just encourages people to carry on with these races.
Yeah, I think it's a great rule and does keep people in, because you know there's you don't have to be at fault to get caught up in a big incident like that, and it can ruin your, and as we said, it can not just ruin this race but ruin race 2 as well, because if you have a poor result in race 1 and you miss the reverse grid for race 2, you're miles back and you end up coming out of the whole race meeting with very few points because of one incident that might not be your fault. So what this does allow is to come in, get the fast repair and rejoin the safety car crew again. The question is as well, what does this do to the fuel strategy? This is going to be interesting.
Well, what it means is that for race 2, if we have a completely green race 2, the drivers won't have that experience of what worked in this first race to take into the second race. One driver, by the way, who won't be happy that there's a safety car, Ethan Critchley, gained 10 places through those incidents, is in 24th right now, but he's only got 38 minutes remaining to carry on moving forward through the field.
Yeah, that's not here at Belle Isle. It's not an easy circuit to overtake at. There's a few overtaking opportunities. Your turn 3 at the end of Central Avenue, potentially down into turn 7 as well at the end of Strand Drive. You can make something work, but apart from that, it's you know, if you've got the track position, you definitely have the advantage. That's for certain. So yeah, it's a tough place to make big moves through the field.
Well, James Bume has gone a little bit earlier this time. It's single file restart, should I say. Green flag in the air and we're underway again. Hopefully the drivers, with them being single file, will have a little bit better effort of it now as they come through. And that is such a tricky exit to turn number 2. You come over a rise and the car wants to understeer wide into I was about to say arm curve, but the concrete wall. Jack Sedgwick trying to fight off Dennis Grabowski as they come through turns 4 and then 5. This tricky left-hander, careful not to hit that curb on the inside of that corner. Turn 6, get the car right into the wall there on the inside, and then right out to the outside for this back stretch.
Much better restart that time, as you said, Paul. So much easier in single file than it is in the 2x2 that we have on the race start. And Grabowski, he's got 2 axes to grind really in that altitude Ferrari. He is trying to fight for the championship. He's only 64 points off the top, so it's a big ask, but it's mathematically possible. But also his other ask is putting up Jack Cedric under pressure, because Cedric, of course, is ahead of him in the championship and very, very close to his teammate James Boumet. Oh, have we got a bit of friendly fire here?
Yes.
Porsches.
It's still Sommerfeld is one of those drivers, and car 31, Raphael Schiffer, and they're both German sim racing drivers. They're both German sim racing AM and German sim racing pro getting together here, Peter. And this is all through this little finicky infield section. Already losing control of the car is Till.
Oh, just an easy mistake to make. Just loses the rear, and yeah, it wasn't a silly overtake or anything like that. It's just a mistake and just unfortunate there. A little bit of an awkward one for the German sim racing crew. Meanwhile, Boumet holding off Ross McFarlane for now, but McFarlane now able to exploit the characteristics, the attributes of that Lamborghini Huracan. It's a fantastic handling car. We saw how strong a package it was at Barber Motorsport Park, where outright horsepower and straight line speed wasn't at such a premium like it was at Monza last time out, and indeed 2 rounds ago at Bathurst.
Yeah, certainly it's very much suited the characteristics of the car. You would say next time out at Watkins Glen is going to be more of a power circuit. There's your conditions, bottom right hand corner of your screen, just 23 degrees on the track surface, so not too hot for the drivers here. So it's there's still going to be an element of looking after your tyres, but it's not going to be as urgent as, say, if we rate it into Lagos with 53 degrees track temperature.
Yeah, that's lovely track temperature, 23 degrees. You can't really get better for the drivers. And yeah, they'll be reveling in that, be able to get on with it, push in early on, and really try and get the best out of the tyre. And you can see the way that the fast guys are really starting to stretch it now, and the line is stretching out. The pace is strong at the front.
Ethan Critchley, get this, is in 17th place. He's gained 17 places in this race. He is on a charge here for the WSR Esports Bookkicker team, and well, he's taken his medicine. And here's the thing now, he's within the reverse grid spots. It goes from 10th to 20th place as the reverse grid spots. So right now, any positions that he gains, he gives himself better odds of getting a better reverse grid position on the grid.
Yeah, that he does, and he could well have profited out of that big pile-up at turn 3 and got through there clean. I suspect he has, but nevertheless, he clearly had to make plenty other overtaking manoeuvres as well. So great stuff from the kart racer himself, Ethan Critchley, and using those skills to full effect to try and make opportunities happen around this tricky circuit. It's not just the overtaking, it's just trying to keep it out the wall here. It's so tough.
I mean, if ever there was a track where you need to use that karting ability of diving for an overtake, it's this track, I feel, with these tight 90-degree corners at turn 3, 4, 5 and 6. It's those types of corners which lend you to making a bit of a dive light brake move.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I'd say so. And also in karting, you've got to be quite creative to make overtakes happen, and I think that's the case here too. Bit of teammate coordination there. Craig Jones goes through. Dwayne Hoffman goes through. Oh dear.
Well, I could see that one coming a mile off, if I'm honest. That was Jack Osborne getting into a tangle with Nathan Healy. The two of them together. Look at this again. They're side by side. They've still got an overlap there. Nathan's quite entitled to, well, does Nathan? They're both moving into each other, which, quite frankly, there's enough racetrack there for them to not do that.
Yeah, not great, is it? Yeah, one very damaged Lamborghini.
Clumsy.
Yeah, I would say so. And the thing is, though, here at Belle Isle, it's so bumpy that the car can deviate from its intended line so easily. So you've almost got to leave a little bit of almost a little bit of a margin, because you know, you can hit a bump unexpectedly and it jumps the car to the side, and you know, before you know it, you're into the side or into the back of somebody. So you've really got to respect this circuit. You just see the body language of the cars, the way they bump and barge in the braking zones, under acceleration. Traction is something that's so important here too. It's a real test of car and indeed driver.
Do you know what? I wish we had the ability in iRacing to have the graphic that Formula One has in some of the street sections to just demonstrate how close to the wall some of these drivers are getting here around this track. I think it'd be fascinating to see just how many millimetres away they are. And remember, you're all racing online here. You're racing against people from around the world. I mean, we've got people from South Africa, we've got you know, people from across the European continent, from the UK as well. You've got those margins of racing on the internet there, and then you've got the margins of the track, which this is just a completely unforgiving, almost a steel cage match, if you want to use a wrestling term, as just how locked in these drivers are on this track.
It is, yeah, I totally agree, and you'll see at the end of the races a lot of little scuffs on the bodywork where you just brush the wall, and that's as close as you can get. And you will see that with some of the top cars. They will come in definitely with battle scars. We ride with Andy Archer, sitting 10th overall, great run. Second in the, third in the Pro-Am class, behind Adam Watson, who was right ahead in the Porsche, and Jamie Rushworth. And of course, Archer trying to catch Adam Watson. He's 97 points back now, so really needs these points if he wants to challenge for this crown.
The problem is for Andy is that his championship rival is right in front of him, so he's still losing points on Adam there. So that's the real downside. I mean, it's as I said, great run to be in the top 10 here for Andy. The problem is he's still losing those points to his championship rival. Your AMS, by the way, is still led by Josh Booth, who's in 19th place. There he is on screen. Behind him, just 2 places back, is Simon Andre Livingston and Giuseppe Muscala. So that's your top 3 in AM, 19th, 21st, 22nd. So there's not much separated. And this track, I think, is really giving us that demonstration of how the different classes have been selected by the admins here. And it really shows that you've got this big group of AMs at the front, then you've got the big group of Pro-Ams in the middle, and then the AMs towards the rear.
Yeah, it's a great job from the organisers, and if someone has a breakthrough season and dominates the class, you can be absolutely sure that they're going to be promoted up to the class above, so that it's not repeated in the following season. And you know, but that progression also brings drivers to a new level as well. James Bume, our defending champion, he was the Pro-Am champion the season before that. So you know, it really does develop drivers. Dennis Grabowski, he won the Pro-Am title last year, and he's fighting for the Pro title this year.
Yeah, it just goes to show how some drivers can really step it up. I mean, I remember Ethan Critchley winning a race as an AM at Monza, and it was you were maybe too good with the results you've been getting, so he went up to Pro-Am then not long after that, and then the following season got moved up to Pro. So it shows how even mid-season drivers can have their standing altered for their role in the championship. It's almost like the FIA with their seeding of drivers. They've learned a thing or two, haven't they?
No comment. Yeah. 26 minutes to go in this motor race, and it's James Booty who leads in a Ferrari.
I've opened a can of worms there, I think, with that one. Yes, Bume leads from McFarlane. These front three, by the way, they're where they started. And I think what we're seeing here is Ross McFarlane doing what Ross McFarlane does best, plays that long game very, very well in these types of races, and will quite happily just sit there behind James Bume, get the slipstream, get the fuel saving that gives you, and try and jump him in the pits.
And he may well be able to do that. And the thing is, they're so closely matched on time that if you do jump in the pits, that's going to make it really difficult for Bume to get the lead back. Where they come out of the pits is going to be so important. So Bume's got to be careful. He's got to kind of know that McFarlane's doing that and actually try and do some fuel saving of his own, whilst maintaining that track position. It's a bit of a tightrope to walk for Bume, but very interesting. Very, very interesting to follow.
But there is only one downside to running that strategy in this first race, is that we've had that we've had that safety car at the start of the race, meaning that when it comes to the pit stops, you're not actually going to be gaining that much time, are you? Because there's going to be a lot less fuel time spent in the pit road.
Yeah, it's pretty minimal, I would say, but it doesn't. It's fine margins we're talking about. You just need enough to, I think, what do you have to find half a second in the pit stop? That's not much. And the thing is, you can also go really quite aggressive on the fill and only put absolutely as much as you think you need, and maybe even just a little bit less, and go, well, as long as I can get the track position, I can hang on to it and fuel save to the end of the race. That we might see that too.
We could well see that, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fascinating how these two races tonight pan out. But Anders Meyer, that we'll look at here in that Racing Lab Esports BMW. The other one out there today, as his teammate is not available for today and is missing this race. And that BMW, I would have thought, would have been very unfavoured around this track, with it being, well, it appears to be. I haven't actually checked the dimensions, but it appears to be a bit of a longer wheelbase than the Ferrari, than the Lamborghini. You wouldn't have thought that a long wheelbase car around this track would do very well.
One thing it has, though, is grunt,
Yes.
the BMW, and out of these slow corners, you need grunt. There's a lot of kind of second gear acceleration, where torque is important as well, and that's the one thing that the BMW definitely has a good amount of. And yeah, it's a good car. In terms of, it's very raceable too, because if you've got that grunt out of the corner, that makes it really difficult for the person behind to set up a move. I mean, Jack Sedgwick, well, he's kind of been stuck there all race. He hasn't been able to make a move. Now, is that by design? Is he doing as much fuel saving as possible? Don't know, but I think that BMW, the way that also that Race Lab Esports has been able to set it up, they've really got it working like no one else has been able to.
Yeah, they've really got it dialed in, that BMW of Racer Lab Esports, and it's great to see them. It just gives us another mark there up at the front of the field. Ethan Critchley, there he is. He's just made up a position on Paul Webster, and so that is now up into 14th for Ethan. 20 places gained at a track that we said is very difficult to overtake it. Now, he did gain 10 places on that first lap because of the shenanigans that happened down at turn number 3, but still, that's a further 10 places that he's had to gain during this race, and he's still got just under half of the race to go yet.
Yeah, fantastic performance, really gritty, and it's difficult to get through a season here without getting that qualifying ban, because these kind of little incidents in races, they kind of build up, and you're lucky to get out of a season without one. So you almost feel like you are going to serve one at some point, and this is, as you said, it's probably one of the worst circuits to have to serve it, and yet he's getting the job done. He's climbing up the order piece by piece. Very impressive.
He is certainly doing just that indeed. Well, we've got 21 8.5 minutes remaining in this race. This is round 16 of the season. Round 17 will be coming up after this race. So once we're finished with this race, don't go anywhere, folks, because we've got a further 45 minutes of racing to come towards you, and also it is a reverse grid draw as well to decide the grid. So that means that potentially, I mean, there is on there, in theory, a full reverse grid as an option. We also have the option of a no reverse grid, which is some people don't like, but it certainly just throws a spanner in the works.
It does, doesn't it? Well, can you imagine a full reverse grid here? Good grief. The spinny wheel shall decide for us. And 20 minutes to go. Bumi holding on. It's stretched out a little, with just McFarlane and Davidson in that group along with leader Bumi. There's quite a gap back to Michael Avdoka in fourth.
Yeah, they have been able to spread away from Michael Avdoka in fourth, who's got a little bit of a gap back to Anders Meyer. So this front three, they seem to be forging a path. Now, one thing that I did just spot there was traffic for these three. That is going to have more of an effect around this track than anywhere else. It's Steve Koenig who's ahead of them in that BMW. Now, Steve, to be fair, does usually do a good job of getting out the way of people. In this series, unlike in official iRacing sessions, Blue Flags, it is asked that you assist the drivers. You're not expected to pull over and come to a stop, but you are asked to assist the drivers in being able to lap you. So, Stephen, I don't see Stephen being too much of an issue for the front three, but as they get closer to other traffic, Peter, that's where things might change, as there he goes to the right.
Yeah, and he's doing but he's doing everything he can. He's doing everything he can, and moves across it. There's nothing more Stephen Koenig could do there.
No,
short of park it at the side of the road, which he's not going to do, and doesn't have to do. No, I think that was pretty fair. Couldn't have really done much more. It's not an easy circuit here to pass on. We know that, and yeah, this is spare thought for poor Stephen here, because he's got a lot of really quick drivers coming through there.
Ben Gregory on pit road right now, getting his pit stop, 10.4 seconds. So that is a little bit of a yardstick for us to look at in terms of pit stop time then, because we are in that pit stop window now, but that window is going to be a lot larger due to the safety car period that we had. We lost about, what was it, about 6-7 minutes we lost? The safety car, we went green, like 48 minutes remaining, so yeah, it was somewhere around that. So yeah, it really opens it up to people having a last minute splash and dash towards the end of the race.
Well, see if how they can do. It's all hanging in the balance now, isn't it? Seeing how who's going to be able to get a jump on their rivals in the pit stops. Bumi has led the race up to now, but has he got the fuel strategy? Will McFarlane be able to jump? And if he does, it could be. I mean, every point now, of course, Paul, is just so pivotal in the championship.
It certainly is. Yeah, Mattia Catania in Pro-Am, leading Paul Webster, and we'll go through. Paul, I don't think he'll be happy being sat here in 15. He'll be wanting to be up there with Adam Watson, who's in 9th. And Jack Sedgwick, I can see you're now time until has switched places with Anders Meyer. So that's a change of position further up your field. And I think Jack will be relieved to stop seeing the back of that BMW, because I think he'll be able to quote all of the decals on the back of that BMW, Peter.
He'll know it inside and out. Yeah, he's through now. Is Sedgwick, and what has he got up his sleeve? I mean, he's 31 points off McFarlane, just 8 behind Bumi. It's going to be a tall order to get past them at this stage, but really got to try and get some, really not lose any more points as best as he can for Cedric. But how will he find it with Michael Evdoka? Will he find himself being held up by Evdoka, of course, his teammate to McFarlane, and not in the championship fight whatsoever? So Evdoka could very much play an important factor. We've seen teammates helping out, helping out their stablemates in championship battles by holding up a rival. Don't be surprised to see that again. So it could well be that we see Cedric going off strategy and coming into the pits early if he feels he's being held up.
The only problem with that though is that you come in early, you come out. Where do you come out in traffic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the risk. That is the risk, and that's where I think it really depends on how much he would feel he'd been held up with Cedric. But it can't be long before we see them coming in for that final, or coming in for that pit stop, and then the sprint to the flag. Boomy just appears to be stretching it a little bit now. He's almost broken the slipstream to McFarlane now. So it's good lap that last time by from James Boomy. He, very, very strong indeed.
Well, don't forget, it was actually the period where they were overtaking Stephen Koenig, where the other two, McFarlane and Davidson, just got held up a little bit, just by half a second or so, nothing much. It didn't go to about 1.3 seconds. That last lap, McFarlane was a tenth and a half quicker than Bumé, so that gap is coming down slightly. But again, you said it, Peter. Track position around this track is so important. It's one of those tracks that you can, as long as you know where to place your car, hold on to a position when you're in an inferior car.
Yeah, it's all about the track position here. I mean, you can really be at quite a pace deficit and still keep the position. As long as you're getting a reasonable exit out of turn 2, you can protect there. And again, you can protect pretty well down into turn 7. Oh, who's throwing the wall hard?
Davidson.
Oh dear.
And he's right by pit entry. Wow, I'm surprised he's staying out there.
I mean, that was a big hit. I'm very surprised to see Alex Davidson carry on. You've got a fast repair. Is it that he's just trying to make sure that... so he got away with it slightly then. If it's just the tyre wall,
It's the next corners, and he is going to be a look at there. Tyre wall. Very, very lucky.
Wow. And I think also for Davidson, his role is very much rear gunner to McFarlane as well. So maybe has to just make sure that he doesn't spoil anything in terms of their strategy. They'll have a game plan, and I can assure you part of that plan will not be Davidson pitting early because of damage.
Full Tilt deciding it's time to have a Full Tilt pit party here in their Audis. So it is Paul Webster, Michael Gray, Will Guthrie all heading down pit road. There were some tyres taken, I noted, by Paul Webster there. Michael Gray's pit stop was 13.5 seconds long, so a little bit longer than the rest of them there. So, we're looking at around about 9-second pit stop by the looks of things here, Peter, for the fuel strategy, which... I don't... Do you know what? I don't know what the fuel rate on one of these cars is anymore on iRacing. I used to know, but now I don't. Onto pit road is car 55, Alex Davidson. I wonder if he's just been feeling that damage and thinking, I need to get this repaired.
Yeah, I think he's going to be losing time, whatever way you look at it. Even though he did get away with it, there still will be some damage to repair, so that will be repaired instantly. There it goes, and he can be back in at full pace now. And it just shows you how short a fill that is. With 12 minutes left on the clock, it really is a splash and go.
7 seconds at the pump for Alex Davidson there. So a brand new car and 7 seconds worth of fuel on board. So there we go. A stall has been set by one of your leading teams, WSR Esports Bookkicker. And how will others react to that now with 11.5 minutes remaining. We are starting to get more and more people onto pit road. Craig Jones is onto pit road for a second time in this race after, of course, causing that incident at turn 3 at the start of this race, causing the safety car. Byron Crawford is on pit road as well, and we've got a car stopped at turn number 3, and it's Pro-Am Championship contender Paul Webster. Remember, he took tyres at the pit stop, and he was backwards down the escape road there.
That's a disaster, absolute disaster. Could not afford to give any kind of break to Adam Watson, and that's exactly what he's just done. Now it comes out alongside the Porsche there and coming down into the braking zone at the end of Central Avenue.
Oh,
what is going on there?
That was a bit of a desperation lunge, was that. Catania had the line, had the position, and then as he swapped over, there's been a clip by the looks of things. Catania's hitting the brakes, and bang!
What happened? That was just a mess.
I mean, this goes to show why you should not change lines once you've hit the brakes.
Well,
on both drivers.
Correct, yes, both drivers are at fault there. Yeah, if you were writing a textbook on what not to do in a braking zone, I think you just have a picture of that or a video clip of that in the classroom saying, yeah, don't do this, guys. Dear me.
Yeah, that was, again, another clumsy one. And Webster's on pit road, so he's obviously got a mechanical meatball warning flag to get onto pit road and have to sort that out. I can tell you, by the way, Raphael Schiffer has had a drive-through penalty as well in this race, so it's not been a good day at the office for Raphael after contact with his teammate, his compatriot. And yeah, Anders Meyer onto pit road, the latest. Now this is one of your main ones from the front. Adam Watson as well onto pit road. Oh, we're starting to get more takers to the pit lane here, Peter. Ethan Critchley as well.
So these are going to be super quick pit stops. Just in, splash, go. I don't know why you would take tyres with such a short amount left in the race when you've got to get them back up to temperature and pressure, and none of the drivers there taking tyres, so which I think is absolutely the right strategy. In, fuel nozzle in, fill up, go.
I can tell you it was 8.3 seconds for Anders Meyer, 8.1 for Adam Watson, 9.4 for Andy Archer, and 8.8 for Ethan Critchley at the pit stall there. Still at the front, we're seeing Jack Sedgwick has been closing up on Michael Evdoka. After getting past Anders Meyer, he's just been working his way closer and closer. I mean, their lap times are pretty much even at this point of the race, so it's all about who does well in the pit stops, who does well getting the fuel on board. Ross McFarlane's onto pit road, so too Michael Evdoka. That's going to release Jack Sedgwick. Does James Bume react next lap?
Well, I might well not have the choice. But the Ferrari is interestingly going a lap longer, especially after McFarlane being in the slipstream of Bume throughout the race, and yeah, just a quick splash and go. Manages to get ahead of Stephen Koenig there, who's running a lap down. Off he goes. So clear air there, critically, and warm tyres for McFarlane. So it's really important for a few sectors here, not just this lap, but sector by sector. Push, push, push out of the pit. So important.
You're absolutely right there, Peter. So critical to be able to do that. So now, Ross McFarlane, he's looking forward towards James Bume, Jack Sedgwick, Dennis Grabowski to see what they do in terms of strategy. 7 minutes remain in this race, so pit stops do need to be taken soon. And for those of you who are sat at home wondering, well, why are they needing to take pit stops? These are GT3 cars that can normally go an hour. The championship have limited the fuel cell, which means that you cannot hold more than, where's my info gone there? More than 50% in the fuel cell. James Bume goes enough a lap as Jack Sedgwick and Dennis Grabowski head to pit road.
So, James Bume, he's been able to run that Ferrari tank as long as it'll possibly go. And at those few laps on that lighter fuel load, could that be the difference for Bume as Grabowski and Sedgwick get back going? Grabowski's definitely gained time there. So he's closer to Sedgwick than he was.
He certainly is. And Michael Avdoka gets out between them, but Grabowski's ahead of Anders Meyer. Stephen Koenig in the background and shot hits the wall. But Anders Meyer is up to speed here with his BMW to the outside. Can he do this one? You can get on the power sooner. Oh, be careful, folks. There's less than a paper's width between the two of them there into the left-hander. That's going to be Meyer's corner. Contact between the two of them. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that...
Grabowski stuck? No, but nearly.
He's lost his front end as well. Be careful coming back on there. But Grabowski, the big loser out of all that.
Huge loser, and he couldn't afford a mistake like that. He could not afford that in this championship battle. Of course, Anders Meyer is behind him in the championship, but a lot of points behind. And oh dear,
it was just that rear quarter panel, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and
it's just too narrow through there.
For me, Grabowski does need to back out at this point. He's lost the corner.
Yeah, and he's into the quarter panel there. Yeah, that's not an overtaking manoeuvre. That's definitely on Grabowski for me.
Bume is in and out. 6.3 seconds fuel stop for him as a very damaged and battered Altitude Esports car for Dennis Grabowski, but his teammate James Bume back out in the lead, and it's about 2.5 seconds between him and Ross McFarlane, and he took 2 seconds less worth of fuel. So there you go, Peter. That's the frugality of James Bume's right foot there. Yeah,
Ferrari and frugal are maybe not two words used in the same sentence, but yeah, he just played that beautifully. He clearly had more in the tank than he was showing. He didn't have any slipstream, but was managing that pace beautifully at the front, going slow enough or controlled the pace enough to use the fuel. To use less fuel than he's used less fuel, but he's also managed the pace. It's very, very well managed there from Bume and McFarlane. Yeah, no answer really, and James Bume a couple more laps and keep it out the wall. And what does he do? Hits the wall.
Yeah, he's flirting with the wall there on that one. Surprise, surprise, Dennis Grabowski and Anders Meyer did end up with mechanical meatball warning flags after that, and I think Anders Meyer has actually used his fast repair in the first pit stop. So he's stuck on pit road getting repairs, and that'll be his race done, which is a nightmare for Anders there. Meanwhile, Dennis Grabowski is actually staying out there. He's in 12th place. You have to serve a mechanical meatball warning flag within 4 laps here in iRacing. Oh, that's going to be tight as to whether he can actually carry on in the race and finish with that warning flag.
Yeah, that's not ideal at all, and it's unlucky there for Anders Meyer, because I think he raced that clean and fair, and not saying that it was unfair from Grabowski, but it's definitely an error from Grabowski.
Certainly was. Right, 2 minutes remaining in this race. It is James Bume leading by 2.5 seconds over Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson. That's the top of your pros. Jamie Rushworth. Where's this performance come from Jamie? He's not in his Porsche like he was during the season. He's in a Lamborghini like the rest of his teammates. So obviously going away from his favourite Porsche to a car where he can quite freely get setups from his teammates. He finds himself in 6th place ahead of Pro-Am championship leader and second place in the race for Pro-Am, Adam Watson. Andy Archer, 8th place. What a drive for Andy in this race. Your AMs, that's led by Josh Boot. He's in 17th right now. Simon Andre Livingston is in 20th ahead of Giuseppe Moschella in 21st. So Josh Boot on for a good result with just 1 minute and 10 remaining in this race. Wow, it's been drama-filled. I think it's certainly safe to say, Peter, as this opening race, and we've got another one to go yet.
And I think that really the real drama will be in race 2. It's been a textbook job from James Boumé at the front, a wonderfully controlled drive to manage the pace along with fuel consumption, go longer than his nearest rivals, and he's going to be rewarded with a win if he can keep it on the island. For now, I think we might go one extra lap here, Paul. I hope for James Boumé he's got enough fuel on board, because his stop was significantly shorter, don't forget.
It certainly was. Well, he's going to come through the final turn to start the last lap of the race. And do you know what? This almost reminds me a little bit of back in 1997 in the PPG Kart World Championship. It was, oh my goodness, as the two Lamborghinis hit that wall on the exit of turn 2. Mark Blundell, who was driving for Pat West at the time, on the last lap of the race here at this venue, ran out of fuel with just 2 corners to go and lost the win. Let's hope that's not the case for James Boumé here.
Let's hope it's not a Boumé blunder, or a Blundell as the case may be. Does look to be a problem right now. It looks to be up at full pace, and he's got a big gap back, 3.6 seconds. So he can really almost push it home from here, and can be very, if he is close on fuel, can lift and coast and get himself to the line. And this, well, the championship just gets closer and closer, and mentally for Ross McFarlane, the nerves have got to be kicking in now, because that was a big gap. It's now eroding to almost nothing.
It certainly is. Just a few more corners to go then for James Boumé, flirting with the wall again then through turns 12 and 13. One more corner to go here, and it's going to be a win for Altitude Esports. James Boumé with his continued charge towards a championship. He takes the win here in round 16 of the championship. Jamie Rushworth, well, there he is on screen behind the imposing Mercedes. He takes Pro-Am win here across the line for WSR Esports. And Josh Boot, I can tell you, has actually gained a place on this last lap as we've got close action across the line. Ethan Critchley finishing, oh, look at that, 10th place in the end for Ethan Critchley. Absolutely sensational, 24 places gained. But here is Josh Boot as, oh, there's drama on the last lap. That, I think, was Nathan Healy sideways as Josh Boot comes across the line for Atomic Esports to take the AM victory here.
Great stuff from Josh Boot. It's certainly been a turbulent season for him. He's had success, he's had heartbreaks, and Nathan Healy, the ultimate heartbreak at the last corner. Oh. Yeah, last corner. Oh no.
Oh, you get it's so harsh that you get so close there and then lose control of the car, and around he goes. Well, that is going to be your results when Paul Webster crosses the line. That'll be it. But what I can tell you is we're going to get the spin of the wheel to decide who is going to be on pole position for race number 2 of the evening. Remember, another 45 minutes of action coming up for you in just a few moments' time. There's the spin of the wheel. We will see where it lands. Remember, there can potentially be a no reverse grid. There can also potentially be a full reverse grid. It's not going to be either, though. It's going to be 13 is the reverse grid draw, and we'll take you through how that pans out for the grid on race number 2 after we give you your provisional race results for round number 16 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. James Bume for Altitude Esports gets a win by 4.2 seconds in the end over Ross McFarlane for WSR Esports butt kicker, with his teammate just 3/10 back in third place, Alex Davidson. Jack Sedgwick ahead of Michael Evdoka, and then it's the top of your Pro-Ams. Jamie Rushworth for WSR Esports finishing first in Pro-Am, 6th place overall, ahead of Adam Watson for Altitude Esports Blue. He's the top Porsche as well in the field, 7th place overall, 2nd in class. 3rd in class is Andy Archer for Atomic Esports, and 8th overall, with Alpha Fertile and a tremendous drive from Ethan Critchley to finish in 10th. 11th place then for Michael Gray, ahead of Axel Slijeptrovic, who'll be starting on the front row alongside your pole sitter, Will Guthrie, for the second race of the evening here. 13th place gets him pole position. Dennis Grabowski just misses out on that with his severely damaged car at the end. Till Sommerfeld ahead of Josh Boots, who wins AM in 16th place overall. Mattia Catania and Mark Hutchinson 17th and 18th ahead of 2nd and 3rd in AM, Simon Andre Livingston and Giuseppe Moschella. 21st is Ben Gregory ahead of Craig Jones. Phil Samways and Paul Webster is 23rd and 24th, and they're the drivers who finished on the lead lap. Drivers 1 lap down or more: Kevin Stringer ahead of Byron Crawford, Andrea Colbellini, Raphael Schiffer, who had a first race to forget in that one, Darren Hoffman and Simon Lersing round out your top 30. Then it is Nathan Healy 2 laps down along with Stephen Koenig. Anders Meyer does not finish, neither does Jack Osborne. So that is the first race of the evening, all signed, sealed and delivered. But we have, of course, got another 45 minutes of racing coming up for you here in about 10 minutes or so. And that first race, Peter, it was very much at the front, all about the pace of James Bume, but also how much fuel saving he did as well.
I think that was the most impressive part, wasn't it? Because he was able to calculate that, and that's where you really see the top drivers come into their own, because they're able to run what is an unfathomable pace for us mere mortals, but they're able to do it with spare brain power. As we know, as sim racers, the more powerful a computer you have, the less it's stressed when we go sim racing, and that a driver's brain is kind of the same. And if you have that extra bandwidth, you can calculate these things on the fly whilst running that pace, and that's exactly what he was able to do, judging what McFarlane was doing as well. And yeah, really impressive. And this championship is just getting so tight now. For McFarlane, he must be scratching his head a little, going, this was the circuit where we really needed to make the difference. Race 2, really anything can happen, so we'll see. But in terms of pure pace, McFarlane would have wanted really to have got a few points back on this occasion.
Yeah, certainly he would have been hoping to get that those results for himself and for his team. Now, it must be said, great result. Jamie Rushworth, we normally saw him in a Porsche in that WSR Esports team. Today, though, in a Lamborghini, I think being the odd one out in a team, it sometimes can help you if you're more comfortable in a car. Say like Adam Watson's more comfortable in the Porsche compared to the Ferraris of his teammates. But here today, in the Lamborghini, that's really worked out for Jamie switching cars.
It has, straight away. Just a massive uptake in finish position. And I think the big part of it will be having the setup data. The work that Ross McFarlane will do, Andy Davidson will do, Alex Davidson, excuse me, so that you're able to just jump in and go. And the Lamborghini is a car which is very driver friendly, I would say. So yeah, if it's set up right, I'm sure you just jump in and go, oh, this is great.
Yeah, certainly he got the good result there, but Adam Watson, he'll be rubbing his hands, because Paul Webster, we saw, had that big drama down at turn number 3. Andy Archer got a good result but finished behind Adam Watson. I think if you're Adam, you're wanting to just get enough of solid points haul in this second race of the evening now starting that midway through that reverse grid draw.
Yeah, that's really got to be the plan for Adam Watson. He's driven really well this season, and he's had a lot. I'm sure all the drivers do, but he's had a lot out with of driving in the sim opportunities in real life racing, and having to make a lot of so we say late arrivals to the grid. So that's what he's done this season in Pro-Am's been mighty impressive. Look, I'm sure Adam would say the same. You know, he's had some pretty eventful seasons here in the World GT Championship where he became a bit of the pantomime villain for a while, but he's just gone about his business in a completely different way this season. Much quieter, much more consistent, and the results are showing. Yeah,
absolutely. I have had Matt Fletcher message me and say, James is running a hybrid at the moment and he's just got it on charge for race number 2, so that's... But it did seem
the road
that
car
he
is a hybrid.
it did seem to have that edge over everybody else, which was just absolutely incredible to see the pace that he kept as well.
Very impressive. That's why he's our defending champion, and he's just raising his game over and over again. And what's amazing as well, Paul, is that he started the season off fairly quietly. He wasn't nowhere. He was sort of in the top 5, but he wasn't really challenging for many wins early on in the season. But ever since we got into the second half of the season, he's really found his stride. It's been great to watch.
Yeah, certainly, absolutely. Well, we are just moments away from the second race of the evening here at Belle Isle in the World GT Championship. It's 13 places is the reverse grid. Well, Guthrie will find himself on pole position. Stick around though, because we'll be right back after this.
As well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this. And onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Welcome back to coverage of Season 15 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. Paul Smith and Peter Mackay with you for all of the coverage once again. And after after Peter, you've had to fly back from Hungary today. I thought you'd be a bit sort of tired and lethargical after a travel day, but my goodness, that first race, it really picks you up, doesn't it?
It is a bit. It does put a pep in your step, the action here in the World GT Championship. And well, my thoughts are really looking ahead to the second race, because this is where we're going to see, I think we could see some championship changing outcomes here, because getting through the pack here, as we've seen, is not easy. And with that reverse grid draw, the championship challengers are going to have to make their way through. And fairly gusty here on Detroit's Belle Isle, and that could make a bit of a difference when you're trying to thread it in between the walls.
Yeah, it could. I mean, fortunately for these drivers, there's not many high-speed corners, is there, around here? Apart from, say, turn 1 and turn 2, I think, are the most extreme corners, aren't they, for putting load on the aerodynamics. And if you've got that wind, I mean, at the moment, as you see there, 36 kilometres an hour from the south, that's going to be coming across the car through turns 1 and 2, isn't it? If I've got my orientation of my map correctly here.
Oh, you're asking me to use a compass, Paul. A virtual one at that. So we're getting word from our in-house weather crew, aka our wonderful producer Connery, that it's forecast to get more windy, but no rain due in the area here in Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, fortunately for these drivers, they're not going to have to contend with rain. It was decided, even though these cars do have the ability to have wet weather tyres for these races, it was decided it would be wrong to add that functionality partway through the season. And I think that's a very sensible move, to be fair. Let people get used to the wet weather before then throwing it on people in a competitive championship like this.
Well, it's I can't wait to see what effect it will have. It really could mix up the, well, I think it will mix up the pack and really throw in some very interesting outcomes when rain does arrive to the World GT Championship. But for now, we have a clean playing field, dry roads, as it has been since iRacing was launched in 2008. And what season are we in now, Paul? Season 15? 14? Yep. 15? 15. 15. Right, and you know, with World GT Championship was raced on dry circuits all the way through, but yeah, a new era is on the horizon.
Although with how heavy those clouds look in the sim at the moment, you'd think it was going to rain today.
You would.
That's almost reminiscent of when I came up to Knockhill, and you're there going, oh, it's going to stay dry, and I'm there going, no, look, it's going to rain. I was right. Technology worked.
You're not often wrong. You're not often wrong, Paul.
Well, fortunately for me, the technology helped me because, to be honest, I'd never been to Knockhill until that week. So, yeah, that was a fun trip. I should do that again at some point. But, by the way, anybody at home who's never been to Knockhill, do. It's a fantastic track. I thoroughly recommend it to everyone. Maybe we could get the World GT there, or is that asking a bit much?
It's not asking too much. Let's do it.
Well, let's get the drivers to the grid then, and let's go through your starting grid, because it is going to be Will Guthrie and Axel Sliptrovich on the front row of the grid alongside, and in row number 2, it's Michael Gray and Ethan Critchley. Sliptrovich and Critchley, I think they could be a good shout for this race. Thurtle and Archer on row number 3. Fourth row of the grid for Watson and Rushworth, with Evdoka and Sedgwick on row number 5. The 6th row, Alex Davidson and Ross McFarlane. Row number 7 for James Bume and Dennis Grabowski, with Till Sommerfeld and Josh Boot on row number 8. Row 9 for Mattia Catania and Mark Hutchinson. 10th row of the grid for Simon Andre Livingston and Giuseppe Moscella, with Ben Gregory, Craig Jones, Phil Samways and Paul Webster, then on row number 12. Row 13 for Kevin Stringer and Byron Crawford. Andrea Corbellini and Raphael Schiffer on row number 14, with the 15th row of Dwayne Hoffman and Simon Lersing. Final 2 rows of the grid, row 16, Nathan Healy, Stephen Koenig, with Anders Meyer, Jack Osborne rounding out the back of your field. So we go racing once again. 45 minutes of action is ahead of us, and it's Will Guthrie. He returned to the series just a few rounds of the championship ago for Full Tilt v Motorsports, and he gets on the loud pedal. It's green flag racing here at Belle Isle. Round number 17 is underway, and through turns number 1 and 2. Cold tyres, don't forget, for these drivers to contend with through here. Very easy to slip wide into the wall. Everybody so far making their way through the first 2 corners. Head down towards turn number 3, and it's Slijeptrovic trying to make a move. Critchley's making a move to the inside. No, not quite making that move stick as they go into turn 4 and 5. And so far, everybody's behaving themselves.
Oh, that was aggressive there from Critchley, but Axel Slijeptrovic said absolutely no way and toughed it out. That could have really caused a big old pile-up, but they get through clean through that opening sector and into now the run down Central Avenue and on the brakes. It's down Strand Drive, excuse me, and on the brakes into turn 7. Very bumpy in there and easy to get it in too deep.
And Adam Watson making a move on Michael Gray, so that's a change. Watson's up 3 places already. Good grief, what porridge has he been having in the morning? My goodness, he's on a charge in this second race. He's looking to get himself some more championship points as, yeah, a big intake of breath and cars finding walls out there.
Massive moment there for Jack Sedgwick, huge oversteer. Great hands to be able to keep that Ferrari under control, but on cold tyres it's just snapping away from him and manages to keep it on the straight and narrow. But oh, that was a really close one for championship contender Jack Sedgwick in the number 10 Ferrari.
Well, we start lap 2 then, and it's green flag racing, and it's Will Guthrie then leading still ahead of Axel Slijeptrovic. Watson, he's overtaken Gray once, he's had to overtake him again, because Gray made it past across the line to get up into 4th, but Watson's back now into that 4th place. So it's Pro-Am from 2 pros, then 2 Pro-Ams, 4th and 5th, Pro and Pro-Am in 6th and 7th, and then pros down to 10th. Looking at your championship contenders, Bume, it's actually lost places, down to 15th at the start here. That's 2 places lost. Ross McFarlane's lost 1 place.
Well, I think we might see a little bit of the old Watson flair coming out here. Just get the feeling he's up for this one with that early raciness up into 4th place, and he wants to win this Pro-Am Championship from the front. But here comes Critchley, shows a big nose, and gets it wrong, gets it really wrong. Oh no, massive pile up, huge. Oh, it's all kicking off. Safety car.
Yeah, safety car deployed. The track was just a wash of cars. And it all started with Ethan Critchley making a move to the inside of Axel Slijeptrovic, losing control. And then it was Michael Gray trying to take avoiding action. Alex Davidson has been caught out in all of that as well. He's had massive problems. He's down there in the field. Let's have a look back then, Peter. It all started with a Critchley. That's Jamie Rushworth going for a ride.
Absolute mess. I mean, it's difficult because, you know, Ethan Critchley, we saw how well he did in race 1, made huge moves up the pack, clearly riding a, you know, a wave of confidence, and it's just one move that didn't work out. And yeah, the consequences of it going wrong here at Detroit are huge for the driver in question, but also for those following behind, because it's so narrow. So if there is a car spinning, there's so little room to get through unscathed, and that's why we see so many safety cars here.
And of course, you saw Michael Gray trying to avoid the accident, he spins. Well, Jamie Rushworth has followed him on that line. And once you've committed to that line, there's very little you can do to react at that point, and that's why you ended up seeing Jamie Rushworth going for a bit of surfing.
Yeah, it was almost like a Tony Hawk skateboard kicker there for that poor old Lamborghini of Jamie Rushworth after such a good run in race 1. It's not going to be so here in race 2, sadly. And, well, we see drivers who sometimes have seasons where just nothing can go right. Alex Davidson, we know the pace he's got. We saw him win at Barber, but if there's an accident to be in, he's usually getting caught up in it. He's just had absolutely no luck at all this season.
Yeah, it's unfortunately been one of those seasons, I think, for Alex Davidson. And when you think he was competing for the championship last season, wasn't he, Alex? He really was up there. He was on form, and coming to this new year, and it's just all seemed to have gone wrong for him. He has had hardware failures as well to contend with this season. I think, you know, is there a little bit of that has been going on throughout the season for him that has not helped him. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Michael Gray and Alex Davidson are the only two cars with the mechanical beat ball warning flags. Ethan Critchley decides, do you know what? I've had a big impact there. I'm heading down pit road to get a fast repair done. Now, this safety car's a little bit later than we got on, it's lap 2 rather than lap 1. By the time we end this safety car, will there be enough time in the books for you to be able to pit under safety car and make it to the end? I think it might be just too long.
Oh, now James Boumé, he came in with about 9 minutes to go, so
yes,
it is doable, I think.
Yeah, but you've still got to have burnt off that fuel, though, don't you?
Ah, true. Yes, because it's a fuel cell, not a starting limit, isn't it? Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, but that being said, that does mean there's about, at the absolute maximum, there is about a 40. What's that? It's a 36-minute fuel cell, more or less, at the maximum. So depends when the lights in the pace car go off.
Well, they're still on now.
Yeah, I think you. It's a tough one.
If I'm at the back, I'm going to risk it.
Have a go. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
If you're at the front, you're not going to risk it because you're in good track position. But yeah, if you're, say, someone like Jack Osborne or a Corbellini, Anders Meyer actually could be a good shout. He's in 25th at the moment.
Yeah, he could do with that little bit of the time. Yeah, why not? Not much to lose from back there. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it was about approximately 9 minutes towards the end of race 1. So that, yeah, calculating back 45 minutes, that gives you a 36-minute fuel cell. That was with time under caution, though, of course. So maybe, yeah, maybe. I think it's doable, but it's a very committed strategy.
Yeah, so we're going to get one more lap of this. So drivers will be, if any drivers have got teammates that are not racing in this, that are watching, they'll be saying, "Quick, get onto the calculator, have a look at this for me. Does this work for me to pit under safety car?" Because you've got to make a choice by the next couple of corners as to whether you come down onto pit road.
Yeah, you do, and also if you do get that, can you catch the back of the train up if you do make that pit stop under the safety car? It's
a slow safety car around here. I mean, the safety car is 72 kilometers an hour around here.
Yeah, you should be able to catch up, even if it's you go in off the back of the train and then fuel up and then catch back up again.
Well, with 36 minutes remaining, so we've hit that magic number.
Yeah, we have. I wonder if we'll see. So they were coming underneath the start and finish line now. Do we have any takers? Come on, someone risk it. Come on.
Want to see somebody do it just to give us a little bit of
validation,
spiciness.
Nobody's taken on the. Nobody's taken on the.
Now.
Oh yes. Oh.
Critchley and Davidson. Now they already took their fast repair. They're on pit road now. Is that a case of, well, we might as well splash and dash because we're splash now because we're at the back of the field and see if we can make it? There's no harm in trying.
Well, and the thing is that, yeah, I think you got to give it a go for them. Why not? So little to lose, everything to gain. I did think we'd maybe see a few more. I will be honest, but we've got, and the good thing we've got two very quick cars that are trying it. So if it is going to work, then well, we've got the right guys trying it.
Now we have got double file restart, which I believe is.
Oh dear.
Is actually a surprise to me, and that will mean that whoever set up the race session here, I'm looking at you, Paul Webster. Has set it up as double file restart.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong? So this could work out amazing. If that is the case, well, we know it's the case now. That could work out incredibly well for Critchley and Davidson because we could get another safety car.
Yes.
And then they've already fueled up. They'll go to the front.
Yes, absolutely. Well. Get your popcorn, folks. Get a beverage of your choice because, yeah. Marshall, stand back from your posts. You might need to give it a bit of space here.
Duck.
Yes. So we'll have to see how this all pans out for us. I mean, the thing is, the start of the race on cold tyres, they all managed lap 1. They've had a chance to warm up the tyres here in this race now, so in theory...
They won't be at full optimum though, they will have gone off that under the pace car. They'll be a bit below that.
But at least they'll be better than they were at the start of the race, that is for sure. Right, here we go. It's Will Guthrie, take 2. Axel Slijeptrovic alongside him. As we were at the start of the race. Adam Watson, though, 3rd place, is right on the tail of Will Guthrie. He does not want to give him any opportunity of running away here. As we get ready, the loud pedal is depressed. We are underway with green flag racing once again. Heading in towards turn 1 we go. And Watson's going for 2nd place on his teammate. Oh, it's all getting a bit tight and tense between the two of them. Slijeptrovic, I don't think he'll be taking too kindly to that as they head down towards turn number 3. Onto the brakes. Watson backs out of that quite sensibly as goes for the cutback under his teammate. No, nothing happening there. So the drivers make it through turn 3, heading towards this tight and twisty section. As that was Grabowski making a move on Fertel. So switch of positions for Dennis Grabowski here.
Well, that's really good stuff there from Sergic making his moves forward up in the 4th now already at this early stage of the race, and this is, he could get a win on the board here with the others back in the pack. He could actually come out of this Detroit Belle Isle race meeting with more points than Boumé potentially. It all really depends where Boumé can get to after his win in race 1. He's sitting in 11th right now. McFarlane up to 9th.
Yeah, McFarlane's on a little bit of a mini charge. He gained position through all that shenanigans. Oh, big contact with the wall there. That was Sedgwick, 4th place in that Ferrari. That was a huge, thick hit there on the left-hand side of the car. But he's carrying on for the time being. No mechanical ball warning flag for him. But I bet that car is not steering straight for him. I can tell you, Nathan Healy's got a black flag. So he's done something out there. Josh Boots on pit road as well. He's taken a trip to the pits, deciding to have his pit stop now. And Jack Osborne pitted as they went green flag racing. I think he knows that he can make it to the end with about 32 minutes to go.
Maybe it was gambling on there being another safety car. Maybe that was what his thinking was. So, is this Ineck Ferrari, the number 10 of Jack Sedgwick? Is it driving straight? Is it driving good enough to do the pace that he needs to? I don't know. After that smack with the wall, he might have to go off strategy and come in, do his pit stop early and take the repair. But let's see how that one shuffles out. McFarlane now up to 8th. Boumé still mired in 11th.
Yeah, not moving forward is James. The thing is, for Ross McFarlane, his next target is Michael Evdoka, and I don't think he'll be putting up much of a fight in that one. So as we come out of those corners, and Michael Evdoka decides that actually now is the time to pit. So onto pit road for Evdoka. James Bumay's just made it past Andy Archer, up into 9th place now. The thing is, if you pit now, you do come up at the back of the field, but you do get yourself a little bit of clean air, but not much.
So that's, yeah, and it's a difficult one because depends where your pace is. If you're one of the fast guys and you get dumped back in the field, you're really going to get held up. But if you're sort of in the middle anyway, Sedgwick has a look but not quite able to get it done on Adam Watson, and you pick your fights with him very carefully.
I think Watson though is he's been playing it a little bit more sensibly this season, and I think he realises that you can get a Pro-Am championship here, and he doesn't want to get involved in unnecessary fights with people who he's not in a championship fight with.
No, that's the tightrope you have to walk on. And yeah, for Watson, he has points in hand. He had scored a good number in race 1 and extended his championship advantage. So yeah, got to play this really, really smart. And Sedgwick clearly up for getting by quickly. Watson, has he let him get through? Yeah, looks like he has. This is a new Adam Watson we're watching, and it's a championship winning Adam Watson, I'd say.
Well, I mean, we've still got, after this race, 3 more races in the championship. Jamie Rushworth, Paul Webster deciding now is the time to pit. So they're on to pit road, getting their service. So I think we're seeing this little bit of a mix of strategies going on. Michael Evdoka back onto pit road. Let's say he's picked up a penalty or something for Michael. He's in the pit box once again. So yeah, that's suboptimal for Michael. He's dropped all the way down to the back of the field after being in 5th place in the early stages of this race.
Oh, Till Summerfield set the fastest lap of the race. Quite impressive indeed. Sitting back in 8th at the moment, and 3rd in Pro-Am. So I haven't quite seen the full the top championship, the Pro Championship contenders show their full pace yet. Are they wondering? Are they trying to play themselves to a fuel number? Oh, a little skiff off the wall there for Watson. You've got to be careful with that.
That's a squeaky bum time, is that one? That is for sure. As they go through the first 2 corners, and that Porsche, well, certainly looking well for Adam Watson. So it's Will Guthrie who leads, Axel Sliptrovich in 2nd place, with Jack Sedgwick in 3rd place. Ross McFarlane just making the move on Arthur Thurtle, running wide in the background, a shot there, but he is held on to that place. So that's a gain of 6 places for Ross McFarlane. James Bumay's 9th, up 4 places. Jack Sedgwick, he's the one who's wanting to try and gain back what he maybe lost out in that first race.
That's exactly what he's trying to do. Boumé with the fastest lap of the race, moving up into 9th, as you said, Paul. So starting to open up the taps a little bit in that altitude. Ferrari, McFarlane is up to 6, and McFarlane's having a roaring charge through the pack. He's not wanting to give that championship lead away. He wants to hang on to it and score an unprecedented 5th World GT Championship.
Now, it's worth keeping an eye on Ethan Critchley and also on Alex Davidson. They're up to 18th and 19th respectively. In fact, there's a move from Critchley. Oh, that was a bit of a squeeze. James Bume has decided this is the time to pit. He's making his pit stop now. So the race 1 winner onto pit road and making his stop now. 3.8 seconds. That's a very quick time.
Wow. Okay. So Bume now, he is right back there amongst drivers who are nowhere near his pace, and he's got, look at the amount of traffic he's got ahead of him. I'm not convinced this is the right call, but let's see, what if Altitude Esports got up their sleeve here? Have they got something up their sleeve, or is this a bluff? Let's see. This is so important after such a good run and all that hard work in race 1. Is this the right strategy call? Is this enough to critically for Bume to finish ahead of McFarlane? That's what it's all about for him.
So the reason why I was saying keep an eye on Davidson and Critchley is they're in 17th and 18th. Davidson and Critchley, they're only 15, 16 seconds back from the current overall race leader. A trip down pit road, even for James Bume there, was 24 seconds cone to cone. This could be a really good call if those two can make that fuel last from the end of that safety car period to the end of this race.
Yeah, that's, well, they're going with the Smith theory of that pit stop under that safety car, and it was worth the risk. They were in that comfortable position where they could throw the dice, and it may well pay off. Let's see here in Detroit. Guthrie still leading, but he's got 2 very menacing looking Ferraris queued up behind him. Slijepcevic in the Altitude car, the blue and silver machine, and then the menacing black Inex Ferrari of Jack Sedgwick. Well, that thump with the wall doesn't appear to be holding Sedgwick back. We've seen the Ferrari take some massive hits so far in the second half of the season and seemingly come away unscathed as Watson getting into a big old what 2 with Ross McFarlane. Oh, oof.
I think Watson did just graze the wall there as well.
McFarlane put him in the wall there. This is a very aggressive Ross McFarlane that's come out in the second race. He's clearly gone, nah, I'm not having this. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
We were hearing rumblings that Ross wasn't too pleased after race 1, so maybe Mr. Angry has made an appearance. And the thing is, when Ross is on it, my goodness, stand back, because he can be one of the most aggressive drivers if he wants to be.
Well, it's they say don't get a Scotsman angry. Oh, problem here. That's Johnny Elia. Brian Crawford, excuse me, for 11.10s.
And another Porsche as well for ADX with damage. That was Muscella. So that's your AM Championship leader, Muscella, with heavy damage to his car. Fortunately, able to take a fast repair, and I don't think Crawford's got his fast repair.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. So let's see what happened then. Muscella, did it happen ahead of him? No. Here he comes. Oh, deep in it. Oh, and the others coming through. There's nowhere to go. That's a pity.
And it's blind around that corner.
Yeah. And look who lost time there as well. Bume.
Bume, yeah.
He lost a bit of time, albeit that's 3 cars he doesn't have to overtake now.
I mean, we're always look at the positives, aren't we? We always look at the positives, but yeah.
I'm a sunny person, Paul, what can I say?
Right, now Jack Sedgwick just cannot, to save himself, get past Axel Sliptrovic and Will Guthrie. Will Guthrie, by the way, doing a very, very good job at the moment in the lead of this race. He's got two very quick Ferraris behind him right now. Denis Grabowski in 4th. I mean, don't write him out of trying to get involved with Ross McFarlane here and try and deny him championship points, because Dennis is involved in that championship fight as well. It's a really intriguing finish to the season here, and I'm glad you're all here watching this one with us on RaceSpotTV. Paul Smith, Peter Mackay with season 15 of the World GT Championship. Round number 17 you're watching right now as Cedric clatters over that curve on the inside.
Yeah, really getting aggressive now, Cedric, trying to get past Sliptrovic, and he's clearly being held up here. Can't seem to get that move done though, because it is just so hard to overtake here at Belle Isle. And for Guthrie, he's doing a great job in that full tilt Audi, and trust me, that car on a bumpy circuit like this is not an easy thing to keep on the straight and narrow. It's a bucking bronco of a thing when it wants to be.
Absolutely, as they go through turns 1 and 2, and all the while that this is happening, well, I was about to say that Alex Davidson and Ethan Critchley are catching up, but they're not really catching up on the race leader right now. Davidson's last lap was 0.3 of a second faster than the race leader, so I think there is an element of them having to work their way through the field, and they are behind Anders Meyer. So, I mean, you've got somebody quick there, further down the order in Anders Meyer to be following, and doing a bit of fuel saving there for both those WSR eSports Butt Kicker drivers.
So 18 minutes to go, but in a fairly lengthy caution period, so it could be a late pit stops here for our drivers. And who's got the fuel number to get ahead? I mean, really, Cedric is being proper aggressive here, trying to put as much pressure on Sliptrovic as he can, but just can't get by. Is he going to have to go on the alternate strategy like Boumet did and try and make something else work? I don't know. Right now he's losing time.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. Phil Samways, the latest one to retire from this race, so we have had a couple, Byron Crawford, Nathan Healy, Phil Samways, all retired from this race so far. So we've still got 30 cars out there, in fact 31 cars out there circulating right now. So it is going to be a busy track out there later on in the race for the leaders. But right now, Ross McFarlane, I mean, this is the thing, Will Guthrie's doing such a good job. Denis Grabowski's not really catching up to the back of that lead pack, but Ross McFarlane has rocketed up as Grabowski, I thought he was clipping the wall there on the inside.
This is interesting now. Grabowski was still with an outside shot of the championship, so he will not want to see Ross McFarlane get by. McFarlane definitely not taking big long fuel saving lifts and coasts. He's more just trying to keep Grabowski under pressure here. Definitely going on the attack.
Now here you go, here's McFarlane then in the slipstream, getting a bit of fuel saving. Did mention between the two races in the virtual paddock that it's aero wash is a big thing around here as Andy Archer pits.
Yeah, I don't know if... Oh, another skiff of the wall there from one driver ahead. I don't think McFarlane, just on that onboard footage there, he didn't hear him fuel saving very much. So, oh, but here comes Cedric. He's going to try and make this around the outside, and it's tight around there, and Sliptrovic shuts the door. This is really costly for Cedric, because all that advantage that he did have is eroded. He's now got McFarlane just 2 places behind him, and Boumet up to 16th, 22 seconds off the leaders, and has taken his pit stop. And Boumet's pit stop was 24.3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've
got a race on here.
Peter, it's almost like you were reading my mind, because I was thinking that exact point as you were chatting away, and then you bring it up. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Finish each other's sentences.
Something like that, yeah. As we go through. Oh, that's a mistake by Sliuptrovic. Missed the apex through the right-hander there at turn 11, but there's not really an opportunity for Sedgwick to go by. And now, Sedgwick is in a real conundrum. It is an inex sandwich, although saying that, the two Altitude Esports cars decide now is the time to pit. So Sliuptrovic, Grabowski onto pit road with 15 minutes to go.
I don't understand that strategy from a team point of view. I think if you're particularly Sliuptrovic, if you're Altitude Esports, you're on the radio there saying, stay exactly where you are. We need to hold Sedgwick up. We need to hold McFarlane up to allow Boumet to get on the, get on the pace. And I don't understand. What a big slide coming out of pit lane there. I really don't understand why you would pit them there. Don't get that.
Well, Boumet's jumped Sliuptrovic,
but not
He's behind Grabowski. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because
that's
you
a
do
miscue
cut
for me.
You do cut the inside of turn 1, don't you, on pit exits? I don't think it's quite that 24 seconds cone to cone that it says. I think you do gain just a little bit by cutting the inside of turn 1.
But I think I really don't understand that for Altitude Esports. That was really in a perfect position for them, holding up Sedgwick, holding up McFarlane. That, I mean, really by a good margin. Why would you pit them there? And because that's just going to allow Sedgwick and McFarlane now to get onto the pace they want, which is going to make it much more difficult for Boumet to catch them in the race. Yeah, confused by that one.
Sedgwick pits. He's decided now's the time to pit out of all of this. By the way, Alex Davidson now, he has been gaining on the race leader, just 12.5 seconds back to Alex Davidson from Will Guthrie. So there's the pit stop. It's 5.9 seconds for Jack Sedgwick. Where's he going to come out? We've got Grabowski going past now. There's there's Boumet. So Sedgwick's come out behind James Boumet there. So Boumet getting back out in front. He'll be happy with that to come out in front of Sedgwick.
Yeah, that was a big bonus there for bonus there for Boumet. That could have so easily been the other way around. Again, I do feel Altitude, if they had stayed out one more lap, that would have made that easy, and well, Boumet would be gone here. And as we progress to the latter part of the championship, if you want to win a Drivers' Championship, sometimes you have to prioritise. And yes, Grabowski has a mathematical chance to win the championship, but really the fighting chance is very much in Boumet's corner. And now, well, now he's not got the chance to make that big score, because he's going to be behind Grabowski.
McFarlane pits, so he's decided now's the time to pull the trigger. Stephen Koenig on pit road as well in his BMW. So we wait and see where's McFarlane going to come out. 5.2 seconds is the pit stop. There is James Boumet. Remember, Boumet's trying to beat McFarlane in the championship. McFarlane's trying to hang on to his championship lead, and they're through on Ross McFarlane. McFarlane's come out just, and I mean just, ahead of Jack Sedgwick in all of this. Wow, that's the big question. Who's got the last of the late breakers into 3? They're leaving each other space. Oh, little rubber door handles there, Peter, but Sedgwick holds on to the spot.
Wow, great stuff there from Sedgwick. Toughs it out and able to get the position back from McFarlane. So Boumet coming in for that early stop, it turned out it was an alternative strategy, and my goodness me, has it worked out, because he's got ahead of his two closest championship rivals, and if he can hold this position, he will reduce that gap down to McFarlane even further.
I'm still not convinced by that time in the pit stall though. Just short of 4 seconds for both Grabowski and for Boumet. I'm still not convinced by that myself.
Now they've got the track position now. They can be really aggressive on the fuel save now and keep position. They've got that advantage. They've got that track position. They don't have to be doing qualifying laps. They can do big lifts and coasts and maintain their position. That's such is the character of the circuit here.
Well,
and Sedgwick and McFarlane may well get into a dust-up, which will certainly help matters.
Yeah, that is very true indeed. You know, these two, they're both fighting for the championship as well. Remember, coming into this week, Jack Sedgwick was just 31 points behind Ross McFarlane in the pro standings of the championship. I do want to point out, through all of this, Will Guthrie is still leading from pole position in this race. He's now got a 3.3 second lead over Adam Watson, but it's that driver in 9th place, Alex Davidson, and the driver in 10th place, Ethan Critchley, that I'm keeping an eye on the timing sheet, because they're the two who pitted right on the last lap of the safety car. We're going to be looking out for splutters of fuel from those two towards the end.
So 9 minutes to go then, and yeah, have Grabowski and particularly Boumet, if they got enough fuel on board, I think they'll be really fuel saving. They don't appear to be dropping any time at all to Sedgwick and to McFarlane, but they'll know where their fuel number is. And of course, I think they really took the should we say, they took the rest of the paddock by complete surprise, just how frugal they were in race 1.
Yes. There was 1 or 2 eyebrows raised, wasn't there, in the virtual paddock between the two racers, as to how long James Boumet was able to stay out there on fuel. So definitely interesting to see all of that. You've got to love the strategy of these races. You think normally a 45-minute race in a GT3 machine, it's not going to be about strategy, is it, Peter? It's just all about flat out use the tyres, use the fuel, and get to the end of the race. But not so in this series.
No, not so at all.
Lead is in. Leader onto pit road, Will Guthrie. Where's he going to come out in all of this? Because he was in front, legitimately in front of Slijepčević, of Grabowski, Boumet. Where's he going to come out here?
Not.
Oh, that's a long hold.
Yeah, and I don't think it was. I think that the overall gap from Grabowski and Boumet to Guthrie had reduced quite quickly, so I think that was going to be the case. But nevertheless, a great run, a really strong run, and like we said, that Audi is a quick car, but it's a beast, and it can be quite knife-edged at times and unforgiving. And this is the last circuit in the world where you want to be driving an unforgiving car.
Yes, certainly. I have a funny feeling that Will Guthrie had his fuel set before the start of the race for how much he would add by, and then hasn't adjusted it for the time of the safety car. Adam Watson leads the race then ahead of Alfa Fertel. I mean, we're used to seeing the Porsche being the frugal car in this championship, aren't we? And yet, it's seemingly the Ferrari here today.
Yeah, definitely the Ferrari's got a lot of attributes up its sleeve, doesn't it? It's it's got the straight line speed. It's clearly got fuel economy, certainly in the hands of Altitude Esports, and yeah, and also can take a bit of a hit as well, as we saw at Bathurst and also here at Belle Isle. So yeah, definitely the complete package, and you know, not surprising to see it really be so strong in the second part of the season. Yeah, just having a look at some of the comments in the virtual paddock. Controversial, I think, about some of the things being said about the performance of the Ferrari. Big claims.
Some big claims indeed, absolutely. Well, there is James Bume behind his teammate of Dennis Grabowski. Track temperature has increased a few degrees here, so about 4 degrees it's increased by through this one. Alex Davidson, by the way, is just 6.4 seconds off of Arthur Firtle. Firtle owes a pit stop. Alex Davidson has made his pit stop, but the big question with 4 minutes and 45 seconds remaining is, can Alex Davidson get to the end of the race?
Well, let's see. Yeah, they took that gamble, didn't they, at the end of towards the end of the safety car period. I think they can actually, Paul. You know, I think they can do this.
Well, I called it, didn't I? I said somebody needed to try it. And Michael Gray's with them. He pitted at the same time as well. In fact, no, he's 1 lap longer on his stint as Michael Gray. So I think he's more at risk than the others.
Well, it's I think for Davison and Critchley, they've got the advantage where they've got great pace, so they can then really fuel save a lot more aggressively and still maintain a fairly good average speed. So they might well be able to keep Michael Gray behind them, who's in the Pro-Am class, don't forget, whereas Critchley and Davison are in the Pro class. So theoretically they should be faster, but so they've got that kind of gap, that margin to play with, to be able to fuel save and get themselves to the end. A little bit of damage on the front of Critchley's car, which won't be helping.
Yeah, that won't help at all. James Bume in the background of shot there, just 5 seconds back from your race leader. Oh, this is going to be a really thrilling final 3 minutes. Yeah, he is under pressure.
Sedgwick has got rid of McFarlane and is all over the back of Bume now. Bume has actually made it past Grabowski in all of this. We didn't see it happen, but Bume has made it past Grabowski, so that's crucial for James Bume. Well, big contact with the wall there for Sedgwick. Now, is he going to get away with that? Is the Ferrari can take hits, but how many? He's already had one in this race, and he probably would have got that repaired at the pit stop, but goodness. Now, I wonder, was that an overtake from Bume, or was he allowed through? There's the question.
Peter, I want to draw your attention to the last lap of the front three. 1 minute 30.1, 1 minute 29.2, 1 minute 29.1 compared to James Bume with a 128.1. So they are running slow. I think they're borderline as to whether they can make it, as there's a move from Sedgwick to the outside. Oh, it's neck and neck. He's going to get the inside though for the next two corners. Beautifully done there by Jack Sedgwick.
Fantastic. Some great racing from Jack Sedgwick in this event. Really impressive stuff. Just able to make moves happen, and like we said, be creative, get those moves done. Wow, really impressive. Now sky's the limit, really. I mean, what can Bume and Sedgwick do, and who's going to finish ahead of them?
Gray's pitting. He can't make it to the end.
Oh.
So remember, he was a lap longer, was Michael Gray, compared to Davidson and Critchley. Davidson and Critchley crossed the line with about 1 minute and 32 to go. If this goes an extra lap, I don't think they make this.
No, they're going to have to back this up massively, and I think that's what they're doing. And Sedgwick has dropped back a lot. I wonder if he has taken damage with that hit of the wall.
We're on board with Davidson.
Way
Let's
back.
listen. It's okay for now. It's coming down here into the braking zone. He's not doing the most lifting and coasting, is he?
Well, he's either fine or completely resigned to the fact he's going to have to splash, because that wasn't much fuel saving at all.
Well, we've got 27 seconds. It's whether we get another lap out of this race as well. Mattia Catania has a mechanical meatball warning flag down in 16th place. But with 15 seconds remaining, this is drama now. Alex Davidson through the final couple of corners. Is he going to see the white flag? I think he is, you know. I think this is going to go one more lap. The white flag's in the air.
Oh.
Can the two WSR Esports butt kicker cars make it to the end of this lap?
Well, now what is Boumé doing now? Because he doesn't appear to have any issue with fuel. As Critchley moving around on the brakes there. That's a bit not on now. Is Boumé going to be aggressive here? I think he might well be. Critchley, of course, no championship axe to grind, but very much an ally, of course, teammate to Ross McFarlane, the biggest championship rival for Boumé in the Ferrari. Thought Boumé was going to go for the 2007 Roman Dumas move there on Emanuele Pirro, but no, didn't do so. Looks like the two WSR Lamborghinis have got enough in the tank here, Paul.
Well, all this is allowing Davidson to just pull away. I don't think Boumé needs to make the move, though.
No.
He's in a championship gaining position right now. This is high drama here in the World GT Championship as they come through the fountain section. The last lap of the race, Critchley backing up Boumé, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Alex Davidson just needs to go 2 more corners to see that checkered flag and have the most frugal Lamborghini in the world. Through the final corner, Alex Davidson for WSR Esports butt kicker takes the win here in round 17 of the World GT Championship.
Fuel strategy there from WSR Esports, fantastic. Davidson and Critchley, they rolled the dice and it came up with a 6-6, and McFarlane, is he out of fuel?
He is!
No, he's out of fuel.
He rolls across the line, but in 13th. Oh my. The one driver that we didn't expect to be worried about fuel ran out of fuel in the last lap.
Wow.
Let's do a little bit of just finalisation. Will Guthrie does get the Pro-Am win, 7th placed overall. Josh Boots is looking at back-to-back AM wins here today. And there's another Atomic Esports car running slow across the line. 20th place for Josh Boots. That's going to be a win in AM for Josh. Wow. High drama at the end of this race. We've still got a race going on further down here for 27th. Corbellini, is it Muscella? Sorry. Yeah. And Hutchinson across the line they go. Wow. Take a breath, Peter. That was sensational.
It was. That was really, it just couldn't predict it right up to the end, and I have to say I did not expect Ross McFarlane to run out of fuel on the last lap. I thought he would have been absolutely safe. Very surprised there, and yeah, McFarlane and Davidson, they rolled the dice and they got their 6-6, didn't they? And they got the 1-2 for WSR Esports after all that.
Well, it is Alex Davidson then who wins this one. A 24-lap stint for both him and Ethan Critchley for WSR Esports butt kicker. 1-2 for them. James Boumé, though, that'll be a nice chunk of points there for him in his Pro Championship battle. 3rd place for Altitude Esports. Jack Sedgwick, he'll be delighted with 4th as well. Yeah. Definitely really good results for them. Dennis Grabowski and Axel Sliptrovich, 5th and 6th places, ahead of Will Guthrie. Started on pole position, finishes in 7th for the Full Tilt V Simsport team. He'll be delighted with taking a Pro-Am win here. Adam Watson then gets another good ton of points over his championship rivals, finishes 8th overall, 2nd in class for Pro-Am, ahead of Arthur Thurtle, until Sommerfeld, 3rd in Pro-Am, finishes 10th overall. 11th place for Andy Archer with Raphael Schiffer, and then Ross McFarlane. It just didn't work out with the fuel numbers at the end of this race. 13th for him. Anders Meyer 14th ahead of Michael Gray, who didn't quite make it to the end, had to pit with 1 lap to go. Jamie Rushworth ahead of Michael Evdurka, Paul Webster and Ben Gregory, and then it's Josh Boot in 20th place. He takes a double AM win here today. Simon Lersing in 21st ahead of Jack Osborne. Craig Jones, the SCCR SimSport driver, finishes 23rd and 2nd in AM class ahead of Simon Andre Livingston, 3rd in class, 24th overall. Kevin Stringer ahead of Giuseppe Mascella with Hutchison, Corbellini, Hoffman and Catania rounding out the top 30. Stephen Koenig 2 laps down, and then drivers who did not finish: Phil Samways, Byron Crawford and Nathan Healy. Wow, how do we digest all of that, Peter, in about 3 minutes? Because that was crazy, was that race?
Yeah, just didn't really know what was going to happen next, didn't we? And it was all about who had what in terms of fuel strategy, and from car to car, team to team, driver to driver, and yeah, it was all about that gamble from Davidson and from Critchley. But really, the big story is that championship-wise, I mean, Boumé, he's really come up trumps there, hasn't he? A win from the front in race 1, and then coming out with a podium there. And McFarlane, before he ran out of fuel, he was already back in 8th by that point, so then dropped even more positions. So we have to see how the points happen. It might be that Boumé goes into the next round of the championship actually with the lead, having come in here 23 points behind.
And to think, to start the race, the second lap of the race, coming towards the end of the lap, it was Critchley making a move which threw the caution flag. Davidson got caught up in all of that as well, and yet they take the win. It's a funny old game, is motorsport, isn't it?
You know, and that's the thing, you never know what's going to happen. And you could say after the first race, oh, racing on street tracks is boring, you can't overtake. Sometimes it's not. There's more to motor racing than overtaking. It's a cerebral game sometimes, and it certainly was today.
It certainly was. Adam Watson, I mean, he didn't get the Pro-Am win in the second race, but another good points haul over his championship rivals, Paul Webster, Andy Archer. He'll be delighted with these results here today.
Massive. I mean, really puts him in full control of that Pro-Am championship, and now can maybe run a little bit freer in the next couple of rounds towards the end of the season, where he's got that gap. He could just go in there, relax, go in and drive, have fun, because he's got a good gap there.
Certainly does. And Josh Boot, I mean, we didn't really talk about him all race, but again, 2 races, 2 AM victories, shown that he has got that pace. He just needs a little bit of consistency to go with it.
If this were rallying, we would say he's trees or trophies, isn't he? He's there is no in between with Josh Boot. He's either scoring doubles or picking Lamborghini parts out the undergrowth. Great to watch. I mean, he hasn't quite been able to put a championship challenge together. He's certainly got championship front-running pace in hand, but it's certainly entertaining to watch. And well done on another double victory.
And, well, next week, it's the final endurance round of the championship, Watkins Glen. I mean, we've gone from a street circuit now to one of the all-time classic North American circuits.
And a couple of years ago, Ross McFarlane was very much behind the 8 ball in the championship. He was miles behind. He was in, I think if my memory serves me right, a Lamborghini, and all his chips looked down, and he pulled an endurance win out of absolutely nowhere with strategy. So he has a precedent for that at Watkins Glen. Can he do it this time? Well, there's going to be a lot of studying, a lot of preparation, I think, for WSR Esports to figure out how they're going to beat these Ferraris, how they're going to beat Altitude, and how they're going to beat Jack Sedgwick's Ferrari as well. So tune in and find out.
Yeah, make sure you join us next week at the same time for live coverage of round number 18 of the World GT Championship. Just 3 races remain in the championship. It's all going to come down to that final week at Sebring. But next week, we're at Watkins Glen. For myself, Paul Smith, for Peter Mackay, Connery Maddock, who was our producer and director here today, we'll wish you all farewell and see you next week for the World GT Championship.